Hi, Jason.
Samantha Dawn said hello.
Take 4 of this mic check. We're having a lot of technical difficulties today, everyone. We're here. We're trying our best.
Yes.
Thank you for tuning in, survivors. Welcome to episode 45 of Survival Jobs, a podcast in collaboration with BroadwayWorld.
Yes, we're about to turn 50 episodes.
Wow, that's crazy that you and I have done almost 50 mic checks, interviewed not 50 guests because we've like had some just one-on-ones and had some like re-releases, but still that's a lot of shows.
That is. That's like 40 people.
That's a lot of people. Congratulations, Jason. Proud of you.
Congratulations to you too, Samantha Dawn said hello. Proud of you as well. With your new glasses. Sorry, I dropped something on the ground.
Thank you. My new glasses. I do just want to address this to everyone who's watching this video. So I lost my glasses in March and I just got them back. It's feeling great to be able to see. How does one record with a ring light and not get the ring light in the glasses? I keep like going into it, but then I'm like, okay. I didn't. Because you know what? Maybe next time.
Okay.
It's going to be about the placement, and my AC is off for a good audio recording, and it's too hot to think about it.
It is.
And also to the people who are just listening, I want to let you know, Jason and I are in full matching Bridgeport Film Festival shirts today in our uniform, in our Survival Jobs host uniform, and we're here and we're doing it.
Now, Pride t-shirts designed by Sarah Byrne. Thank you, Sarah. They're so cute, right? Oh, wait.
They're so cute. There's a ring light. Thank you to Sarah.
Yes, shout out to Sarah. So this week is Whitney Houston's birthday, which is everyone who knows me is my favorite singer of all time. What's your favorite Whitney Houston song, Samantha?
It's got to be "And I Will Always Love You."
Oh,
a classic.
That's a good one. You be crying.
What's yours? Oh yeah, it gets me every time. Gets me every single time.
That's so funny. Well, I can't pick just one. I have like 1,000, but "I Always Love You" is the reason why I'm a fan. So
classic.
There you go. But I like, I like summertime. I like to listen to the up tempos, like so emotional. I want to dance with. Oh, I think it's hit the mic. I want to dance with somebody. We need like those upbeat summer jams, right?
Yeah. Yeah. 100%.
But a good ballad goes a long way.
A good ballad goes such a long way. Yes. A good ballad gets me through a lot of sadness, even though the ballads are typically sad. So when you're sad, you just keep.
But you want to be in those feelings. You want to like breathe and process and sit in it and then let it out with some tears.
Right.
And then hopefully over time, you feel like a little better, a little stronger, right? A little wiser.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much. Jay, you told me that you're going to surprise me with the secret question on this mic check.
It's not really a secret question, but
I'm literally like sweating thinking about what it is.
No, I was just going to ask you, have you ever watched a movie and then you're like, I don't know how I feel about that. I got to watch that again. Have you?
Yeah.
Okay, so
I do that a lot. I do that a lot with TV shows.
Oh, but you watch the whole TV show over again? I know you watched Scandal.
I was just going to say, I've watched Scandal start to finish, I think 3 times. And when I mean start to finish, I mean season 1 to season 7.
Yeah, that's intense.
Like maybe 3 times. By the way, people listening, like I'm not a psycho. I did that a lot in the pandemic when nothing was going on. I've also done it with Gilmore Girls. Shout out Gilmore to Say, the podcast.
Yes, Sarah Llewellyn.
Yeah. Okay. What are you getting to? Have you done this recently with a movie?
So I saw Nope. Jordan Peele's latest movie.
Yes.
So it's like a little sci-fi, not really horror. And from the trailer, it looks like, you're not really sure what it's about. So I watched it and I enjoyed it, but I'm like, I think I missed something. And I'm like, I think I've been thinking about it, right? It's been ruminating in my mind. I watched it like last week, but like every day I've been like watching this, like thinking about this movie. Like I can't get it out of my head. So I'm like, I think I gotta go watch it again because I feel like I need to process it. And I feel like I have a lot of feelings and thoughts, but I need to watch it one more time before I share them.
Okay. Okay. Should I watch it as well, and then we can speak about it together?
You should. Because I really enjoyed it. I just felt like I was confused by it so much. at the
Yeah,
same
that you're like,
time.
"Wait, what happened
Yeah,
here?"
exactly. And then so I've been watching like these video essays, and like I just love watching stuff on YouTube, like video stuff about film and everything. So I've been watching
Yeah.
that, and I'm like, okay, I think I gotta watch it again to really get my perspective down on it. And I think you should watch. Yeah, will you watch it this week?
Yeah, I will. And you know what else we'll be able to talk about on the mic check next week?
What?
We're both seeing Into the Woods. I'm going this
Oh,
evening.
you are?
I am.
Yes. Who's your favorite character in Into the Woods?
Oh God, Jason, that's hard. I
Is
can't.
it?
I don't know. I mean, first thought is always Baker's wife, right?
Oh, and then,
Favorite character.
but the baker is mine. Look at
And the ba-
that.
Oh
We should
my
get married.
God. We basically are. We basically are married at this point.
I love the
Uh,
baker, and I love the
I
baker's
love the
wife.
baker's wife, but I don't know. I also love the witch.
I mean, it's the witch. It's like one of the best characters in
It's the
musical
witch
theater history.
ever. Yeah, so that'll be
Musical
fun.
theater
All right.
history.
So we have
Broadway
assignments.
history.
Yeah, all of the histories. So our assignments, and by our, I mean mine, I need to watch Nope. Where do I find this? Netflix?
It's on the movie. It's in the movies.
Oh, I don't think I have time to go to the theater. Okay, I'll try.
Yeah, you do.
I haven't gone to an actual movie theater in so long.
Since you saw,
Okay,
Into the Woods. Wow, in the Heights.
West Side Story.
Oh, West Side Story. Yeah.
Yeah,
Into the Woods.
actually,
Into the
yeah.
Heights.
Into the Heights, into the woods to grandmother's house. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Oh my God. Okay,
Okay.
great. So we have a lot to look forward to and a lot to digest and a lot to talk about next week. And we love that. we love a good phone ring.
Of course, I'm the only person that has a household phone.
I don't think you probably are the only one. I think there's probably
I got a
more.
boomer mom, y'all.
Yeah, the moms don't want to get rid of the house number.
Never. She has a cell phone, but like loves the house.
Jason, should we talk about our guest?
We should talk about our guest. I'm trying to press mute in between rings, but we should talk about our guest.
Yeah,
I'm so
let's do it.
excited. She is the truth. Like, I guess you say who her name is, right? What is her name?
Irene
Sofia Lucio is the truth, y'all. Love talking to her. And Samantha, like, I think I said this to you after, but like, did we just start this podcast to get new best friends? 'Cause I feel like every time we meet someone new, I just want to be their best friend.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, maybe we did that because it is true. We're so lucky. All of our guests are so cool,
They
and
are.
we really do like get these friend crushes.
You know.
At the end, we're like, listen, meet us at Glass House Tavern
Yes.
for some corn risotto. We're obsessed. We'll be in our matching Bridgeport Film Festival t-shirts, and
Oh my
we'll see you
gosh.
there
We'll see you there.
when the clock strikes 12 and bring a Cinderella shoe.
Yes. No, but it was so great to talk with her and meet her. And yeah, she's the truth. Like, I asked a spontaneous question and I got a great hot take, which I enjoyed.
Hot take. Hot cake.
Yeah. What are your thoughts? I feel like I've been
Same. I mean, so I saw her in Slave Play. I saw
Yes.
Slave Play a handful of times. And I remember watching her performance being like, oh, she's so good and so raw. And I mean, all of the actors in Slave Play were excellent. That piece was just, you had no option other than to be vulnerable and raw and present and so open. She was really special for me as an audience member, her performance. And so I said this to her on the show. It's like, I saw Slave Play a handful of times, and I remember thinking, I have to meet this girl. She's so good. And then here we are. And now we're all meeting.
Bum, 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 ba-dum. Yep, there we are.
So yeah, no, this was a good one. And
Cool.
it's actually so nice to talk to these actors once the show is closed, because I feel like we're getting a different perspective on it versus when we speak to people who are currently in the shows.
Of course,
Because once you're out of it, you have time to like let it marinate and like reflect and think about it. So I don't know. I really liked our conversation with her, and I'm excited for everyone to hear it.
Yeah, which is true, because I feel like, I mean, that's kind of like anything, right? Like, when you're in the moment of something, your perspective is always probably a bit biased, right? Because you're going through that, like, but when it's over and you have like time to like let it pass and to like, oh, okay, I can think about it. I can think about the pros and the cons or like whatever it may be. It's just easier to like be more well-rounded opinion on your experience.
Totally.
Maybe I never been on Broadway, so
You're on BroadwayWorld though, so it's close.
bam,
Thank you.
it's in the
Thank you so
title.
much.
We're on
Thank you so much.
Broadway World.
Thank you so much.
I tell people that all the time. I'm on Broadway World.
Yeah, I'm on Broadway. Well,
I was in a
well,
show. I'm in a show on Broadway World called Survival Jobs.
world. Jason, the world is really getting me.
Yeah, yeah. I'm gonna tell people that now.
I
Broadway.
think you should. World.
I'm starring in a 2-person show on Broadway World.
They're like, what's it called? You're like, how can I get tickets?
Oh well, it's
We'll send the link.
2022,
We'll send the
and
link. We'll
yeah,
send the
yeah,
link.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
it.
yeah,
I'll
yeah.
TM the link. No problem.
Exactly.
No problem.
Anyway, back to
Back to our guest. You want to
Yeah.
kick off her bio, Jay?
Yes. Irene Sofia Lucio is an actor, writer, and producer who originated the role of Patricia off and on Broadway. Some of her credits include Slave Play and Wit on Broadway, off Broadway Romeo y Julieta at the Public Theater, Slave Play Love and Information at New York Theater Workshop, Orange Julius at the Rattlestick. I love the Rattlestick, by the way.
Oh my God.
Undertaking, Bam, King Liz at Second Stage, and We Play for the Gods at WP.
Regional credits include Yell Rap, Studio Theater in DC, Cal Shapes. TV credits include The Americans, Bartlett, Madam Secretary, Gossip Girl, Kasi Kasi. She is the co-creator of Butts web series,
Yes.
NBCU Short Film Festival winner, Imogen Award nominee. Her education includes Princeton and the Yale School of Drama. She's a native of San Juan, Puerto Rico.
Yes.
Yes.
Puerto Rico. That's where she called in from. I'm so jealous.
Yes. By the way, like, did you just hear me listing all of her TV credits? Like, no big deal.
Yeah, I know. She was like, I did my research. We didn't get to really talk about the TV stuff, but she was
I
like
know,
on
we
like
went
some
in
of
on
these
other
amazing
stuff.
shows, like The
Yeah.
Americans and Madam. I was like, wow, that's really freaking cool. And then she talked about,
Yeah.
y'all will hear it, but she talked about her
You guys will hear.
experience
Yeah.
on TV versus film, and yeah, she's goals, y'all. Literally goals.
Enjoy the episode, survivors.
Enjoy.
And 5 more till 50. Love you, Jay. Hello, Irene. Welcome to Survival Jobs, a podcast.
We're so happy to have you. Thanks for making time with us. And I'm so jealous that you're in beautiful Puerto Rico right now. I wish we were friends before this so you could invited me.
I'm in in the apartment I grew up in, visiting my mom. But yeah, it was definitely a nice like change of pace and air for sure.
Yeah,
although it is just as hot here as it is in New York. Like, hands down.
She must be so excited to see you.
Yeah.
Same.
I imagine
Thank you so much for having me.
The air is probably nicer to breathe in than like hot subway, New York City pollution air.
Yes. Yes. Yes, it is.
Hot subway, New York City
air.
Yes,
it is.
I love your earrings.
You know it's really hot. Thank you. They're my mom's. I fully took them from her bedroom to borrow yesterday. But yeah, you know it's hot when like the breeze coming from the subway feels like a breeze.
Yeah. We were saying this recently, I think, with another guest, where we're like, yeah, when that like germy subway breeze comes and you like it, you know that it's summer in the city.
I am fully channeling like an older Puerto Rican lady though now, because like I always bring a fan and I'm just like,
yes, you have to.
I'm just like, I don't know. I think we all need to be carrying fans.
I agree. And by the way, good tip. We'll like link a fan to the episode now. Maybe we'll get a sponsor. Right? Great. So I know we have to like get through this episode. So this podcast is called Survival Jobs, a podcast. We love talking to artists about their careers and how they got to where they are. So let's kick it off. Jay, you want to kick it off?
I do want to kick it off. Okay. Irene, do you have a favorite survival job you've had in your past that really impacted your career, or one that, really helped you get to where you are right now?
I mean, you could argue they all helped me get to where I am right now because you become the person that you are, and it was character building and all of that. But I think one of the more useful jobs, I don't know if it made me a better actor, but it was useful to sustain auditioning life, was I was tutoring kids. I was tutoring kids all over the Upper East Side. I started with like companies that did tutoring, and then one of them was called Bell Curves, and they would go to like charter schools and inner city schools, and they would train you to do like SAT prep and Common Core prep, and you would go to these schools and like give classes. And I think it did make me a better actor. You become a better listener. You have to keep kids engaged. And then I took that training and I went private, and like I just, I put my profile up in care.com, where they have like a tutoring section. And then I slowly started finding families, like the Upper East Side and stuff. And then like that became a referral system. Mm-hmm. And I would just do like, I would try to divide my day so that the first half of the day was for acting stuff. And then the second half from 3 onwards, I was tutoring. I was going from house to house. And that was a very, I was charging cash. And
cash money.
Making like a really good hourly rate, And I also noticed that I was like it was mentally exhausting, but it was not physically exhausting. And that I think was a big help to just sustain the stamina that it takes to be an actor. It's really hard.
It's so hard. I also love what you said. You're like, okay, so I took the first half of my day to do acting stuff, and then from 3 onwards. And I think as artists and people who have many aspirations and need these survival jobs, that's really important. I've actually been trying that to like really nail it for myself recently. Okay, from this time to this time, I work on the podcast. Then I do my survival job. Then I like learn a new monologue. It's so hard to like hold yourself accountable. So like pro tip for all of the listeners, like that's what we have to do.
Yeah. And I think the more you can be accountable to other people, the better. So I think that helped me, that like my survival job, I was accountable to these families, right? Like, you have to, like, it's a huge deal if you don't make it for that kid, that day, for sure. if they can't study for that test. And so you show up, right? But then like actually what was harder was to show up for myself, because I wasn't as accountable to other people. I'd be like, I have to do this, until 3 p.m. So I do have to get up early in order to get all of these things done. Otherwise I'll just like sleep till noon, drink coffee, and then like stumble to, a tutoring job at 3 p.m.
Right. Which is so easy to fall into.
Exactly.
It is. And I mean, I'd be lying if I didn't say like occasionally I had days like that, for sure.
I mean, same. I mean, aren't we all?
You're human. So. But how many students did you have in total? Like at your peak of this survival job?
I had like 12 students at my peak.
Oh, wow.
Because you'd see them, some students you'd see once a week, and then other students you'd see twice a week. I had one that I was sort of like the homework helper. Like I was just there to help like middle school boys with ADHD organize their backpack and their schedule and be like, this is what we're doing and you got this. So that I would see, every day kind of. It was different things. Like different students needed different things depending on the age, depending on their brain. But I did like it because it did feel like at the end of each hour that I was.
She said, hello.
This new world we live in.
What a time.
We love. You were saying about, okay, so let's pick up from the middle school boys with ADHD.
I mean, I have ADHD, so I was also
Same.
Like, I think it's actually very common for our creative brains to have it. Like, I never saw it as an impediment. I saw it as like, you have a superpower. We just have to learn how to harness it, and then like destigmatizing that for the parents and for the kid themselves, so that they didn't feel. Like I was always the kid that had like a really messy backpack and like messy notebooks.
Same.
And I always felt shame for, it's always a girl that had the most perfect notebook with the highlighted lines, and it looked so neat.
Yeah.
And they were always a little bit smug about it. And I always felt shame that I wasn't like that. And yet, like, I was also incredibly competent. Like, I was messy, but I could get really good grades. I was always like it, but I just had to like get rid of that shame and be like, I'm just different in that way.
Yeah.
I'm still getting good results, and that's fine. Like, yeah.
For sure. So the tutoring was like, seems like it was a great survival job. Do you have another survival job that was like not so great and like have a shocking story?
Yeah, I mean, I've had a lot of jobs. I mean, I tried to be a waiter at a wine bar, and I had never been a waiter before.
Okay.
And I got fired in 6 days by
text.
Yeah, and they were like, "We just don't need you to come back, thanks." And I was like,
what
that's
happened?
how bad I was.
Sounds
I was
good.
like opening bottles like between my legs, like not being like, like if you're in a wine bar, you need to be like,
you need to like present it. Yeah. Between my
and
legs.
this wine is
got me.
and I was trying to like cram all the wines downstairs, and I just didn't know all of them. I also was really slow with the software. Like, it wasn't anything in particular besides like me being crass, but also it was me not being fast enough. I wasn't, I was not ready. It is a very competitive field because there are a lot of people that of course they know the software, they know how to work it. They know what it is, that industry. And I sort of had to count my losses and be like, okay, what can I do that is unique to me that I can charge money for? And like, again, it is kind of like what I was telling those ADHDs, like, work with what you got. Work with what you got. I am a clumsy person. When I don't care about something, I will not retain it.
Same. 100%. I think that's so interesting because I feel like a lot of actors and artists are like, okay, I have to be a waiter because that's like
the path.
What you do. You serve, you wait tables, and then you book it. So, that's not the path. Like, there are so many paths to take, so many roads to lead you to where you need to go. But opening the wine bottle on the legs really got me.
Well, it was it's like this thing.
Yeah, I know exactly. So good.
You don't do that in a wine bar. And I temped. I was with a temp agency, and at one point I was a receptionist for Max Mara, and I felt like I was in The Devil Wears Prada because I had to like dress up, which I liked, but then like my desk was always really not clean. And you're the receptionist, so that's the first space they see, and they were always like, "Please, no, this, no." And I was like, "Okay, this is gonna be tough for me." Yeah, I've been bad at a lot of things, but I think like the sooner you can learn to work with what you got, and to not shame yourself for being who you are, the quicker you can find things that work for you and work with you a little bit better,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I did coverage as well for production companies. So coverage is
like reading scripts?
Reading scripts and reading books. Because my undergrad was in literature. I studied literature. I really liked reading. And I was like, I just reached out to people that I knew that were in production. Mm-hmm. And at first, and this was during the pandemic, I was like, I'll work for free for this amount of months if you give me work. And and that they trained me essentially how to do good coverage, and then I started charging them for it.
Oh wow, that's amazing. You like know how to play to your strengths. I love that.
It was a survival tactic after failing at it and seeing how scary it can be when it can get really rough if you're not having a good time,
For sure.
and you feel like you're
for
being
sure.
spread too thin, and you're failing in the acting front, and you're failing in the money front, and so you after a while I had to I remember a shrink told me this. They were like, the sooner you can realize there's nothing wrong with you, you just got to work with it.
Yeah.
You just got to work with it and stop pretending to be somebody. Like, just be that and work with that. And that was honestly one of the most helpful things I've ever been told, I think. Just work with your own brain, your own body, your own interests, your own.
Right, when you're not like fitting in this bubble or this mold of like what you think you're supposed to be, and like being mean to yourself constantly, and you're like, hey, this is me, and I'm gonna like do the thing the way I think it should be done, then you thrive.
Survivors, I hope you're taking notes.
I was just gonna say hello advice to my own self.
Yeah.
I mean, I still have to say that to myself, honestly, at times. I'm very good at being hard on myself, and then after a while, ultimately, it's always relearning the same lesson of like, well, what if that's not a terrible thing to be? What if you just, what if you're just great? What if that's just great?
Yeah. Well, let's transition to slave play. And it's like a big question I have for you. Or it's like multi-parts to it, I guess. So I guess my first question is, what were your like initial thoughts when you read the play? And can you tell us about the audition process? Because you originally did the role of Patricia, right?
I did. So I was in, I think it was the second reading ever of that play, that while Jeremy was still writing it at Yale, and the third act didn't exist yet. I think he had done a reading of it as he was writing it with like some close friends before. And then he had to do like a reading for the playwriting department, and they brought in actors from the city. And I was sent the script. And again, no act 3 yet. And I still knew that I was going to hold on to that play for dear life. Like, I was like, this play is important. I've never seen this. This is dangerous in the right ways. And I'm holding on to this like a leech. I'm going to be a barnacle on this goddamn boat if it kills me. Like, I just knew. I didn't know what that looked like. Like, I don't think I was ever like, oh, this is going to Broadway. I still can't believe we did it on Broadway, much less twice. There's still parts of me that thinks it never belonged on Broadway, but I'm proud of having gone to Broadway. Don't get me wrong. I'm really proud that was my debut. I'm going to be proud to like brag this to my grandchildren till the day that my first debut was like a sex play on Broadway. Hell yeah. About intersectionality and race relations and like, your psyche. Hell yeah. But I guess my point is, like, I read it. I knew it was important. I knew it was incredible. It was one of the first times that I was ever being called to be what I am, which is like white passing, sounding this way, but I have an otherness to it. And then like they're exploiting, or at least we definitely like wanted to show the privilege of that,
For sure.
And so that was the first time that I was like, look, I'm being actually invited to talk about this, how amazing. Then they did a production of it with students there, because I was long gone from YSD. I'm an alum, but I was like long gone from them. So I wasn't in that production, but then they did a workshop of it at the O'Neill. I was invited to do it at the O'Neill, and 4 of us from that workshop stayed on practically all the way through. But I was asked to audition after the O'Neill. Some people were given offers, and I was asked to audition, and I was like,
oh boy.
You're like,
but you knew though,
I wanted it.
You had put that into universe that you wanted it. Yeah, that was yours.
I wanted it. And I was like, what is it that they, I even like it got like I asked my manager to ask the casting director, and we figured, but because they knew me, because I wouldn't necessarily have this kind of pull with other teams, but in this one I was like, what do they need to see that I haven't already shown them? And they were talking specifically about the dynamic of the therapists. So and I was like, oh, they need me to go butcher, like, for this dynamic that they want to see. They need to see this. And I did practically the same performance with a completely different costume. I moved a little bit differently. But then I did pull out of my sleeve the whole like accent code shifting moment. If you guys saw it, like I have a moment where I start using like the accent that I use here in Puerto Rico. If I'm talking to somebody in English, all of a sudden I become like this person because I am from here, and then like this is how we're talking here. And then when I'm in New York and I'm talking,
For sure.
then I talk like this. So I did that to showcase like that kind of privilege, and I think that was sort of what gave me the part. And I kept it. In fact, they let me put in a pero that is not in the script, but that will always be my pero in that play.
Oh, amazing!
So
you
and
were
then I stayed
amazing.
On, and then I stayed on. So we did New York Theater Workshop. A year later, we got to go, which I will always love them for. They took all of us to go to Broadway. They didn't like replace us with stars. The only shift was the Kanisha, because at that time Tiana was a Marvel character.
Yeah.
And then after pandemic, and that was a completely unexpected turn of events. They were like, "We're going back
into Broadway." Yeah.
And I was like, cool.
Okay. Yeah.
Well, there's like another lesson there too, which was like you brought something that was so specific to yourself to that character, right? And I think, I don't know, I felt like when I was always in acting classes, I was always hear like, be specific, be more specific. Like I love that. Like that's kind of what nailed it for you in your audition. Like that's pretty incredible.
I think so. I mean, I think different parts require different things of you, I think that specific part, you needed to be really nimble with words. You needed to have like the operative words down. You needed to like get to the end of the line because it's really lofty idea. So you need to punch certain words. So even like people who don't know what they all mean have an idea of what it is. That was a big part of the technical element. And then after that, it's like, who are you within all of those words? Where do all of those words fall into your body? And then like using that, because I feel like slave play taught me that more than anything. And I'm like, I need to be doing that with more parts. Like, who the hell am I in this body as I'm saying these things? It's my body. It's not another person's body. It's my body.
True,
so use that, and hold yourself accountable in that way. Which is cool. It's a cool thing to do, putting yourself on the hook. It also shows you how human you are when you're holding yourself accountable in that way. Which I think so. Anyway, so I'm my goal is to try to do that more, if not every time moving forward.
Right, and like I'm sure you feel much more connected to that character when you're like, oh, this is me within this person.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then it brings
it makes you see some things that you don't want to necessarily. But it also humanizes things that you sometimes demonize. Like there's the things that you're like, I can't believe it, and you're like, wait a minute.
I can't believe it.
Wait a minute.
You mean like
what about when this happens?
Yeah.
Don't you think you are also kind of holding a double standard to yourself in that moment?
Yeah.
Right.
How is that not kind of the same thing, if not exactly the same?
Totally.
So, but I think it's one of the cool things we get to do as actors,
Yeah.
Really think about who we are as human beings. What are we similar in? What are we different, and why is it different?
Why is it different?
Yeah. By the way, I saw this production a handful of times, and you were stellar. To sidebar, like incredible.
Thank you.
I was like, I need to meet her one day, and here we are.
Here we are. Right?
I mean, so what?
And here we are.
I unfortunately did not get to see it, and I'm like kicking myself still that I missed this.
Okay.
Didn't it get filmed, or did I make that up?
Yeah, I was about to say, so one of like the Lincoln Center archives
Mm-hmm.
are like a prized gem for actors. If you're ever like curious about something, I remember once I didn't get the part, but I truly had no idea how a script worked. It was Mackinac, and I was like, what? It's a German play. What the hell is this? Don't get it. And I went to Lincoln Center Archives and I like, asked you reserve a spot, and I asked to see a production of it, and it made it more, I understood it better, kind of like when you're reading a play and you're like, I'm not sure how this works. And then you're at a reading of it and you're like, oh, this is awesome. I love this play.
It clicks. Yeah.
Sometimes it's on you. Sometimes you get it right off the page, or sometimes you can't quite see it yet, and you're like, and that's a super. So my point is, if you want, you can see it there.
Yes. Yes.
My point is you have access.
You have access.
If you would like, it's like a cool. It's just a good resource in general. If anyone's like, I missed that show, and you're like, well, they might have it.
Yeah.
I know where you can go. So you've done theater, as we've just spoken about. You graduated from Yale School of Drama, and then I know you've done TV and film and dabbled in a bunch of different like verticals for your acting. Do you have one that you prefer more than another? If you could talk a little bit about like the differences and like what you need to tap into to do these essentially different types of acting for different spaces.
I still feel like I have a lot to. I feel a sense of mastery. But I use mastery in a very loose term. I don't feel like I'm a master. I just feel like I'm in charge and have a lot of agency in terms of what to use and what not to use in the theater. It's been many years. I've been very lucky, so I get to do it a lot, and that makes you better. I don't feel that sense of agency and mastery with on camera yet, and it's like it is a source of frustration for me, but it's important to do that in order to get better. Like I'm still finding it. I'm learning a lot from other actors, which has been great. Like I was just recently in a workshop of a new show, and Ron Canada was in it, and I can just ask him. Would be like, listen, Ron, you have a rubber face just like me, and you work on camera a lot. What do you do? And they'll just tell you, because actors tend to be very generous people.
Yeah.
So I'm exploring some of the, the advice that I'm getting from other people, and I'll take classes and stuff. And I think Zoom classes for on camera are actually really useful because they're literally seeing what the camera sees.
Yeah.
So I guess that is a bit of a tangent, but what I mean is that I'm still working on the adjustments that I have to do for on camera acting. As far as I can assess so far, it has so much to do, like theater versus on camera, it has so much to do with the proximity to the audience. In theater, you have to serve an audience depending on the house, right? And energetically, you have to reach every seat, and that will imply a certain projection of energy. When it's on camera, it is almost like being right here. So the performance that I'm doing on stage will not serve this distance. Nobody needs that. Nobody really wants that. I wouldn't want to be talked to like that.
Yeah.
Really, I would be moving away.
No, it's so true. It's so true.
It's so hard. Yeah.
And trusting, I mean, the trusting you are enough on camera is even more at stake, because it will pick up a thought that you're having. You just need to think it. You don't even need to feel it half the time. I think you just need to think it. So doing a lot of like mining what the thoughts are that make you say what you do is what's like, I'm noticing making me better. But yeah, that was the question, right? What's the difference between stage and
like which one do you
I prefer?
prefer?
I love theater. Will always love theater. I can't.
Right.
get rid of it. I will never get rid of it. I will figure out a way to do it. Even if, you know, I get that like ideal career that I want, which will ultimately mean more film and TV, I will always make room to do theater just because I think it's my favorite. It's when I feel most alive, most connected to human beings, and I think I'd get unhappy if I don't, is the other thing that like I need to do it, like if possible, if life allows me to. I would love to do it at least once a year, like if I could, you know. I know that I won't get that every year, but that's
you
know,
could.
when I'm happiest. But maybe I could, you know, like that's the goal.
Could.
That's what I'm casting out. I want to be in front of an audience telling a story at least once a year. Like, I really love it, and I do think that it just makes you better at everything.
Yeah,
all kinds of acting, whether it be on camera or not. It's still just like weightlifting, you know.
For sure, it also makes you a better person. I think doing theater, it's so vulnerable.
I love it so much.
Yeah,
I wish I didn't love it as much as I do sometimes. But I love it.
Also, I think there's like something. I mean, I'm no master in any shape or form, but I think there's something more like grounded doing theater, because you're like most of the time you're doing something from like beginning to end, rather than when you're on set doing something that's like kind of stop and go, and you're doing like, you know, 3 pages here that could be the beginning of the story or it could be the end of the story, and then just working out of order. So I feel like it's a lot easier to be grounded and more like connected to a character if you have that theater kind of training, you know, that background.
I feel that too. I mean, yeah, I'm sure. I don't really know as much as people who are like that their wheelhouse is on TV. I don't know what they would say, but of course I agree with you. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Well, that's cool. Well, I had a different question for you, but I'm gonna change it up, Sam, because I know there's a lot of talk in the media right now with like the cancellation of Batgirl and James Franco playing Castro. Like, what's going on? Like, how do you think entertainment industry can be more inclusive to our Latino performers? Latinx, I'm not sure if people like to use that term now.
I'm gonna drink
take a little sip first.
Yeah, get the fuel.
This is my emotional support mug.
Perfect.
I
need one of those.
I think what's so upsetting, and I know, you know, that a lot of groups that feel, you know, in some way marginalized or extremely marginalized will agree with this. I think what's so frustrating about having to, you know, deal with questions like this, not that it's a very legitimate, important question, but I think what's frustrating is that it feels really common sense, the answer. And the answer is give people a chance in that community to tell their stories, and allow those stories to exist in the world. And, you know, we will have made it in general if, you know, Latinos, Black people, you know, Native American stories, Asian stories get to do what white male directors get to do all the time, which is do a mediocre movie. When we get to do a mediocre movie and it affects no one, and we just get another one right after, holy shit, we made it. We made it.
Yeah.
We made it. We made it.
It's always riding on one. It's like always like you gotta have this one shot.
And it really bothers me because, you know, it's impossible to get it perfect. I don't know what art is perfect. And even in The Heights, which did, you know, acknowledge the mistakes that it made, it was the one film that was out. So also it was like, yes, absolutely, they made mistakes. I don't know if we can cancel the one movie that we have out. I just...
Right.
I think we just need more movies. I don't think it's the fault of the one movie. I think it's the fault of the system that only allows us to have one movie, you know? And it's giving, you know, more, it's making us be scared to tell our stories sometimes because we could get it wrong. But the problem is really the scarcity. Like, that's the real issue here. And the few stories that are given to us when they cast white actors, I just want to burn it all down. And it's not an issue. And I have no issue with the actor that was cast as Fidel Castro in particular. I don't know him. But I know that he shouldn't be playing it. And I know that there should be enough agency for people to say, even that actor to go, that's not my story to tell. I've been in situations with like Latino plays where, because we're all somehow the same, or it's some kind of a monolith, I've been invited to audition for a part that is definitely for like an indigenous Mexican woman to play. And I have to go, absolutely not. That's not my story to tell. Thank you very much. Give it to someone who needs to play it and tell this story. And I think that it's not just the actor's fault, but I think we as actors also need to hold ourselves accountable as to what stories we tell and what bodies we inhabit. Like, so it's wrong.
Yeah.
And Batgirl getting canceled is wrong. And how can we be better? Letting Batgirl happen and giving Fidel Castro to a Cuban man.
Yeah.
It just seems so obvious, right?
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like,
that's the hard thing when people are like, okay, everything I do, I'm trying to help and I get it wrong. And I'm like, just be better. It's not that hard. It really isn't that hard. It really isn't that hard. It's not that hard. Mm-hmm. It's not that impossible to fathom giving the stories to the people who have that story to tell.
Yes. And the same things keep happening, which blows my mind. It's like, why aren't we learning from past mistakes and errors and that are getting called out and spoken about? And then we're doing it repetitive over and over. I have no.
Only white people get to be transformative. So they get to transform, but we just have to wait till when we get only an exclusively Latino part.
Yeah.
The economics is screwed there. So no, if I get to be transformative, when we all get to be transformative, then we can. Then I have no problem with James Franco playing Fidel Castro.
Preach. I'm sorry. I feel like I opened up a huge can of worms. No, I love it.
That's what it's what it is. That's what it is. And those are the areas where like we as like artists need to push. We need to push. You have to push, and that's part of your responsibility. Like, because at first 100%. I thought like looking the way that I did, like I thought I could be transformative. And I'm not saying that I'm not. I think in stage you are allowed to be more transformative than in other spaces. Mm-hmm. But I haven't been allowed to be transformative on screen. And I was once denied a part or denied a callback because they were going strictly Caucasian, which is strictly illegal, by the way. And I realized that, like, even though I thought that I could, and then they're not letting me, that like my added responsibility as an artist is to push for that to be the case, if not for me, for like the people coming after me. Yeah. And it's not necessarily a role that anyone wants, but if you're going to be an artist, that's part of the job.
Right. And if we don't work harder now in this generation to make the change, it's just going to keep on repeating itself, and people will speak out and like do a spread of all the Black playwrights to like look like they're making a difference. And then things like this keep happening. So we can pretend to like show, look at us, how good we are making this change. And then these things keep happening. So the change is actually not happening. You're just trying to like be performative and show it so you don't get canceled.
Yeah, they get the picture right. Like they're very good at getting the picture. They have the picture, so then you get the check, but they're not looking at like who's in the boardroom, who's making the calls. Like it's not happening on a systemic level. I think we've made strides, but man, do we have a long way to go.
A long way to go.
For sure. Yeah. For sure.
Well, thank you.
But that's part of our job.
With that. Yeah.
I think that's part of our job. It sucks, but it's part of our job. And that's when like art is inherently political. Like that's when you're like, and now I'm in politics.
Totally. And Jason, you were like, hey, I'm so sorry for asking that. Like, no, this is why we have this space. This is why we have this show, this platform. Yes, we want to talk about survival jobs and how people get there, but like, we're also talking about art and like this industry. And we're lucky to have a show and a space to do it. So, like, don't be sorry ever, babe. We got this. And we're lucky to have amazing guests such as yourself who are like, open and wanting to speak about it. So thank you so much for using your voice with us and being so open and vulnerable. You're so badass.
Thank you. So are you guys. I'm really happy that that we did this.
Yeah, it's amazing. So we are coming to the end of our show. We have one more question, and then I don't even think we gave you the heads up that we play a fun game to end the show to keep everything light and bring it back to fun. So okay. I hope you're okay with it. I feel like that's my party line, Jason. Every show I'm like, hey, so we forgot to tell you. And like you would think, talk about learning from errors. Like you would think next time I would be like, hey, just so you know, are you okay with the game? But it's just not happening. Anyway, we like to bring it back to survival jobs to end the show. So if you had to go back to your least favorite survival job for 10 years, to come out of that, to have your dream artistic life, whatever that means to you, whatever your perfect day as an artist looks like, you get that every single day for the rest of your life. Would you do that?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Fierce.
So you would be trying to pop those bottles? Like
trying to wine bottles in between your legs.
Yeah.
Yes. Wow. And I also love how quick you were with that yes. Because typically
I'm willing to put up with a lot of crap. I'm willing to put up with a lot of crap as long as I know that I chose it and as long as I know that it's like for something bigger. And
right.
And I think it's I am willing to put up with a lot of crap. As long as it's like for something, towards something.
So
yeah.
Sidebar, I know we are limited on time, but is there someone you really want to collaborate with? Like off the top of your head, like someone you
John
really
Leguizamo. I really want to collaborate with John Leguizamo. I think he's like I'm starting to break into like the writing space and I'm just like, I just really like how he's using his voice as a platform to like allow more Latina stories to happen. And
thank God.
I think he's hilarious and I think he's incredibly talented and transformative. And I just want to talk to him as well. Like I want to pick his brain. I think he's and I think he's using his art in the right ways. So I just
preach.
I would love to work with him.
Yeah.
Let's manifest it here together.
It's gonna happen.
Power of three to manifest. Let's put it into the universe.
And then you're gonna be like, oh yeah, remember I was on that podcast and I manifested this with Jason and Samantha.
I love that. No, I would absolutely love that. And I would love to get to be at a point in my career that he's at, which is like to help other artists. I just think he's top.
It's so
how beautiful is that's your goal to like, hey, be at a place to help others. And I feel like that's not everyone feels that. A lot of artists just look out for themselves and want to get to that level that they think is the dream level or whatever.
It was my dream. It was my dream to be that. But I saw how many obstacles there were to having that dream be a reality, even for one person. And then the more I got angry, the more I started making stuff. And the more I started making stuff, the more I started expanding and feeling agency and not relying on other people to tell me whether I'm good or not. And then more opportunities came out of that. So I think that's where it's at. I really do. I think that's where it's at for I think that's where it is. Helping in the helping and in the being in conversations and in the expanding voices space is ultimately way more fulfilling. And I think you get to be one of those voices, so like you're the part of yourself that loves attention as an actor that wants to get to do some of it, physically. You might get to do that in the process of helping other people. Like
totally
pretty cool,
Yeah, 100%.
You kind of get both a little bit in that process and you feel like you're fighting something big that needs to get fought. And it makes you
Preach.
like cave less if something goes wrong, because it's less about you. It's like you have other people that are fighting with you, and you're like, damn, that sucked. And you have somebody to go to the bar with and lament, and then you fight the next day again.
Yeah.
You know?
Just keep it going.
Yeah.
You're awesome. Thank you so much again.
You guys are awesome. Thank you so much for having me.
Yes, this was
course.
amazing. So we'll do a really quick game. This game was born out of your education at the Yale School of Drama.
Okay.
The game is called Yale or Jail. So we're gonna read you name of actors, and you're gonna tell us if they went to Yale or if they played a character that was in jail or went to
You know
jail.
that my mom is Cuban, and has very thick American accent speaking in English, and
Yeah.
she says that I went to jail.
Oh, that's so cute.
So I just
But then this is
It's
the
very
game.
very fitting, I guess.
yeah. Anyway,
Because you're home with your mom. Like it's perfect.
Yeah, and here we all are. By the way, a big note about the game is that some of the actors we read didn't go to Yale School of Drama, but they went to Yale. I almost said they went to jail. They went to Yale. They went to Yale in some way, maybe in undergrad, maybe studied whatever. Okay, this is fun.
here we go. Okay.
All right.
Jay, you want to take the first?
Sure. Angela Bassett. Yale.
Yale.
Oh, there you go. Ding, ding, ding.
Ding, ding, ding. That was
I
quick.
love her.
Hello, New York City Horns. Claire Danes.
Yale.
Correct.
Clint Eastwood.
Jail.
Correct.
He was in Alcatraz.
Anthony Hopkins.
Jail.
Yeah. Hello. That was like the best one.
Lupita Nyong'o. Oh, wait,
Yale.
second one.
She's
Yeah,
a year
yeah.
below me.
Oh, really? That's so funny.
Yeah.
Iconic. John Malkovich.
Jail.
Correct. He was Cyrus the Virus from Con Air.
Oh, I love that movie.
Yeah.
That movie.
Cyrus the Virus.
Frances McDormand.
Oh, Yale.
Yeah, you know you're
Oh,
I
right.
you're
love it.
nailing this. You're
Well,
nailing.
because she's
You're
one of
nailing
my
this.
she's one of my role models. Like I'm always like,
Aw.
that
Same.
woman
She's so badass. Nicolas Cage.
Jail.
Yep.
Yes. From Raising Arizona.
Yep. And last but
I
not
feel like he's
least,
played more people in jail. I feel like wasn't he in
Wait, was he in
Alcatraz too?
was he in Con Air? Or is he not in Con Air? No. Was he in Con
Let
Air?
me tell you guys, this is all from google.com.
It
So I
works.
don't know. That works.
That's so funny. All right, last one. Liev Schreiber.
Yale.
Yeah, I think got
Whoa.
100. Ding, ding, ding.
By the way, nobody really ever nails the game without us like cheating or helping. You literally just got that perfect. So like, I think, Jason, I don't know, Jason, maybe you know. Did we just set a Survival Jobs record?
I think so.
I
Congratulations.
think
Oh
we might
dear
have.
God.
We
I
have to,
don't know
like-
if I'm proud of that. That I'm like that friggin'
No, it's
like
amazing.
savvy about trivia.
Jail or jail.
And the prize is we're gonna have to take you out to dinner when you're back in New York.
I will gladly take you up on that.
Meet us at the
Yes.
Glass House Tavern for some corn risotto.
Yes.
so good.
I go,
Yes. Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Amazing. Before we leave, can you tell everyone, all the listeners, where they can follow you on Instagram, Twitter, or how to keep up with what projects you're going on?
Sure. I mean, mostly Instagram. My, handle is Irene Sofia Lucio. And for the most part, I have all my info there. So you can just do that.
Perfect.
Follow her,
Awesome.
you people.
I'm gonna follow it right now. I don't do
Yeah.
that.
I'll follow you back.
Yes. And then should we say where to find us, Samantha?
Yes, and if you're tuning in for the first time, be sure to follow us at Survival Jobs Pod on Instagram and Twitter. Shoot us an email at survivaljobspod@gmail.com. Let us know who you want to come on the show. Follow my boy Jason at Jason A. Coombs, and I am Sammy Toots. Thank you.
Thank you.
Enjoy
Thank you.
your
You're
time in Puerto
amazing.
Rico.
Yes.
Thank you, beauties. Thank you so much for having me. I really had a great time.
Thank you for making time
Thank
for
you,
us.
thank you, thank you.